So the basic kick drum pattern, we'll use 1 and 3 on the kick, and we'll just go back and forth between quarter notes and eighth notes. Try to keep the quarter note pulse on those eighth notes, the accented hi-hat pattern. Right, so we got. And then I'll slow it down a little bit, and I'm going to have you do another idea too that is really, really helpful to start working on. I know I was telling you about one-handed 16th notes on the hi-hat, so that would be kind of like this kind of a thing. So same thing, 1 and 3 on the kick, but I'm counting 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. Add that into what we've already got with the quarter notes, the eighth notes, and then the 1 E and the 16th notes. I'm going to slow the tempo down so that we're not having to play super fast one-handed 16th notes. Okay, so then if this is your 16th note tempo, you can even go slower if you want, but then I'm going to put the 3 together. So we got the quarter notes, the eighth notes, the 16th notes, all with the kick drum on 1 and 3, snare drums on 2 and 4. So like this. And you can just kind of like go do that a couple measures. You could do 2 measures of each, 1 measure, 4 measures of each. Practice going back and forth between those. And then, if you speed them up a little bit, you get like. You can kind of mix them up a little bit, like. Those are just some ideas to maybe check out. Now, let's get into some of those bass drum patterns that I was talking to you about. And feel free to, you could slow this video down, like YouTube videos, slow it down to 0.75 if you want to try to figure out what's going on a little bit slower. And then, just let me know if we can go over this again at the next lesson. So, some of those bass drum patterns. So maybe we'll just go to straight eighth notes now on the hi-hat, 2 and 4 on the snare. We'll just vary the kick drum pattern a little bit. So I think some of those ones that we were playing were, let's see, maybe like this one right here, like. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Playing with the accented hi-hat pattern, you all right? Pretty cool thing. And then maybe a 2-measure phrase. So the first measure will be that beat, and then the second measure will go, let's do this one. We'll go. So now we're doing 1 and 2 and 3 E and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 E and 4. So then the first measure was 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. The second measure 1 and 2 and 3 E and 4. So then you put them together. You got 2 measures back to back, 2-measure phrase, right? So. and you can kind of like experiment with that a little bit. You could speed it up, slow it down. Play it with an open hi-hat. That might sound cool, right? Also do it, so now I'll play it on the ride cymbal, and I'm going to keep a quarter note pulse with the hi-hat while I'm doing that. So same two measures. So got. So that's kind of cool. All of these patterns are basically just like ideas, but once we start working out of the book, you'll see what I mean. There's virtually endless amounts of bass drum patterns. And you can work on 4-way independence or 3-way independence. 3-way would be like where you're just playing right hand on the hi-hat, closed or open, snare drum 2 and 4, kick drum is varying whatever kick drum pattern you're playing. Or you can play 4-way independence where you have the right hand is playing the ride cymbal, the left foot is either playing quarter notes or eighth notes, right? Quarter notes or eighth notes. And then you're playing everything at the same time. So like a lot of possibilities with these patterns, right? So it's not just these are just basic patterns I'm showing you. It's basically meant to be used as a guideline to expand on that and be able to play so many, like hundreds of variations of patterns, right? Whatever you feel at the time just comes out naturally. So now let's work on some bass drum speed and control. So these patterns are to help build up a fast foot, basically, right? So I'll do them with a closed hi-hat on the eighth notes, straight eighth notes. Maybe I'll throw in some accents, I don't know, whatever I'm feeling. You could do them accented or unaccented. Probably unaccented is easier at first. And then the kick drum pattern, I'm gonna vary. So I think for the first one, what did we do? We did the bossa nova type thing, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So then, let's see, we'll go, speed that up. Faster. You can use that. You can play it open hi-hat too. So on the ride cymbal, whatever you want to do. And then now let's take the kick drum and we'll move it over a little bit. So instead of 1, we'll go 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. Right? And then you can go back and forth between those two. So, and you can just take a little break on the kick in between, sections. So for instance, I'll play it slow. So I don't want to make the video too long, dude, but and then obviously be working on your single stroke, double stroke paradiddles with the kick drum. I mean, you can even add the hi-hat on the quarter notes too, so then both together. You know, you could do 4 measures of each. That was, I think right there I did 2 measures of each, and then I did 1 measure of each. So, you know, just work on that. That's just one tempo of so many tempos, right? You can do it at really fast tempos. You can do it at slow tempos. There's a lot of different foot type stuff that we can do underneath that pattern at some point. We'll get into playing more difficult bass drum patterns underneath those snare drum rudiments, okay? So I think that's probably a lot for the week, just to get you kind of started. Be ready next week to work out of the book, and that page that I sent you, we're not gonna work on every measure in there, but we'll kind of scratch the surface a little bit on that. Should be fun, all right?